to the channel. This is Steve. If you haven't been here before, welcome for the first time. Uh, this is a topic that's always controversial, but I feel compelled to say something. Basically, it's politics. Okay, now I know I got to go wash my mouth out with soap for saying that, but um, I haven't really been wanting to give my opinion on various things, and the reason is that for me, when I'm looking to be entertained by whatever, be it a sport, a movie, a song, just watching silly videos on whatever Instagram or I don't do TikTok. Maybe I will sometime, but I don't yet. Or YouTube videos, which is usually where I start my day. I usually start my day, to be honest with you, listening to Angelina Jordan videos. I turn on the TV, hit YouTube, and I just search for anything new from Angelina, which comes up to my suggestions because it's one of the most popular things that I look for. Now, okay, I'm obsessed. Shoot me, but now don't shoot, don't shoot me. Okay, I don't know whether the gun lobby would be here or not be here. They might be in favor, actually, of keeping guns in play. But I haven't been involved because, to me, none of that stuff belongs in an entertainment venue. I don't really care what anybody's politics are. I don't really care what some football player, basketball player, baseball player, soccer player. I don't really care what their politics are. I want to watch them play. I'm watching them for their talents and expertise. They're not expert in anything else, really, I don't think, any more than anybody else is, right? Just because they have a platform, do they really have to use it? No. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's the lesson we learned in Jurassic Park. Just because you can do a thing, should you do a thing? And does that, you know, do we need to play God or influence with everything? I don't really think so, really. I mean, would you rather just watch a football game and not have any politics in it at all, or would you like the politics in with the football? Do people have to kneel or not kneel, or should we kneel, or what should they be? Because you got the platform, you should use it. Blah 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 blah. No, to me, it's put the game on, let the game stay. I quit watching football when all that kneeling stuff started. I was on the edge of quit watching it anyway because I come from the old school. I graduated high school in 1973. In 1971, the Dolphins had their undefeated season, the only team to ever have an undefeated season. And that was at a time when football players, I think the whole team doesn't make as much as the average quarterback nowadays. And not that money is everything, but that's actually my point. Is that in those days the teams were teams. They were a bunch of guys that played football together, and they were a team. They were actually a team, not just a bunch of independent people trying to get as much money as they can. I don't blame the players for getting whatever they can get, and most of the players have a very short career. So, and then even after that, a lot of them have injuries and such that they're going to carry the rest of their lives. So I don't blame them for getting what they can get. I do the same thing. Is it greed? No, not really. You're worth what you're worth. If you're going to happen to be in a situation where your talents have gotten you to a place where millions of people want to watch you every weekend, that's the deal. And in football, of course, the quarterbacks are the stars. Some of the other people can get to be stars too. Usually they get to be stars through being outspoken or whatever. And and of course they got talent. Don't get me wrong. Everybody that's playing on a professional level has talent, extreme talent, because there's not that many that actually make it that far. But so I've been staying away from politics because I don't know whether I'm an entertainer or I don't think I'm really necessarily talented in any way. So if I talk about politics, do I lose half my audience, regardless of how I've come down on an issue? I don't know. I think my take on politics is a little bit more neutral. And I'll say that because, I try to look at every issue from, I guess, both sides in a way. Some issues I can't see both sides. I can only see one side. But there are other issues that, there's points on both sides, could go either way. And my thought on politicians in general is that they're supposed to work for us. We send them to wherever they're going to go, state or federal level, local level, it doesn't matter. We vote for them and we put them in there to do work for us or represent us. We can't all go to the halls of Congress and vote on things. They go there and do it for us. They're supposed to represent the majority of the constituents that send them there. Not necessarily the majority of the voters, but the majority of constituents. Because even in matters coming down to the state level, there's certain areas of different states. I live in New York. I live up in the Finger Lakes region. It's a beautiful part of the state. And that our environment here is so much different than New York City. I don't like New York City. I've been there before. I went to see the 911 memorial, the buildings that they built there, the memorial and all that. And, I've been there a few times, but, I'm just uncomfortable in the city. I like it out here in the boondocks. I can drive from here to my hometown, which is 17 miles away, and I might not only see one or two cars along the way coming the other direction. It's just not, I live in a rural area. I like it here. And I live near a lake that's a beautiful lake. People come from all over the world to visit this lake, and I live here. How lucky am I, right? So, but to get back to the politic thing, they're supposed to go there and represent us. And do they represent us? From my perspective, here in New York, they represent New York City, period. There's nothing, unless you get to the local level with mayors and things like that, city councilmen, those kind of things. But the laws that are passed in this state, I think the city's population is way more than the rest of the state all added up together. So they basically rule the roost. And I know New York is considered to be a blue state, but the area I live in is mostly red. Almost all the other parts of the state are red, other than New York City. So, basically you can't win, right? You can't fight City Hall. But it doesn't mean that our elected representatives that shouldn't go there and put forth what they feel the majority of the constituents in their area want. That's what they're supposed to do. And the other thing that bothers me is, this budget stuff with the federal government. I got somewhere on my computer, I've got that the budget clock. That shows how much we owe and how fast it's growing and all the other things. And shows all the revenue sources for everything. It's got a lot of detail in it. Whether or not it's true or not, because it comes from the government, I don't know if I can trust it, which is a sad state of affairs, but it's true. But maybe it's legitimate, maybe it's not. That thing's been around for a while, but so they put together last minute these omnibus packages with trillions of dollars lately. It never used to be trillions, now it is. Of garbage in there that nobody cares about, nobody knows about, nobody wants. 4,100 pages, the last one. I don't know how many trillions of dollars was it. Nobody read 4,100 pages of a budget proposal. Nobody. No, I don't know if anybody could even make it through it without falling asleep. And the stuff that's in there, most of it's garbage. I did. I opened it. I found it. I opened it up. I read some of it. It's like, man, this is the worst garbage that I've ever seen in my life. I don't want any of that stuff to get funded by any of my money, because I think that the federal government is supposed to look out for the common good. The states look out for all the state inhabitants and make their own rules and regulations on a lot of things, because they're closest to the problem or closest to the constituents, so they can determine what's needed and what should be done. The federal government's not near all of us. It's essentially a separate issue. And they're supposed to represent the country, okay? Not special interests, not this side or that side. It's not supposed to be that way. I think people, most of the politicians, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is they should act and behave as if they don't even belong to a party. Once they belong to a party, the party platform, a lot of the party thing is money, power, controlling who's going to be the candidate and all that kind of stuff. I think that's all wrong too. Should be the best person for the job, period. It doesn't matter what they are, who they are, gender, sexual orientation. None of that stuff really matters. It's who can do the best job. Who do you think is going to be the best person for the job? That's what's important. What else criteria should there be? Then you hire a bunch of people that have no qualifications, not even perceived ability that they can do the job. And you hire them for reasons other than qualifications, gender, race, the equity stuff and all the other baloney. That's all baloney, hogwash, made up stuff, in my opinion. And the reason I say it is because my viewpoint is this. You send the best people there to do the job. Period. End of discussion. You don't need to know anything else. Who determines that? Well, usually if you're in a place where there's primaries and things like that, or on the local level. I know in my small town, a lot of times they don't even have enough people to run for the positions. They have to find somebody to run to fill the position. So I guess you get whoever steps up to do it. And there are times when there are contested positions, like I know in the area I live in, a lot of times the sheriff, for whatever reason, when they come up for a re-election, the county sheriff, they there seems to be sometimes candidates from different parties, but typically a lot of the other positions, I mean, they have one person. The mayor will run unopposed for a decade or so because nobody else wants the job, I guess. I don't think there's like great rewards on the local level. You don't get paid a lot. You get there's a lot of time. People are always coming up to you with things about the area that you live in, and they expect you to go run off and fix it for them right away. And maybe sometimes you can, maybe sometimes you can't. And I think we're fortunate here in this area that most of the mayors and things like that we have they do have the community in mind, and they live here, they've been here forever, their family's been here, so they're not going to do anything to hurt the community. But then we have to live, of course, under the umbrella of the state government and then the federal government. So there are rules and regulations that come down on us regardless of where we stand. And let me get back on track again. So the stuff with the federal government, they're supposed to represent the country's interests. The country, not their party. Their party doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what party put you there. What that's all about is campaign financing. And they control things with the money. To me, that's all corruption, if you ask me. The party's using money to control the flow of candidates into a place where they're going to get voted on is corruption. Plain out, flat out. No question about it in my mind whatsoever. And you can think of it differently, but money shouldn't determine who gets to be the candidate. It should be who's the best qualified. That's it. How do you figure that out? Well, let them get up there and do what they can to campaign. They should be out there talking to the people. And then the people start to form opinions. The people talk to other people. The word spreads, and that's how it happens. How do you think